Extra depth on the changing landscape for women's health care in Texas. Today, Texas law SB 8, also known as the Heartbeat Bill, officially went into effect after the U.S. Supreme Court and Federal Appeals Court did not take up requests to block it. As the law stands, abortion providers here in Texas are not able to perform the procedure once a fetal heartbeat is detected. That usually comes around the 6-week mark, which opponents say is when many women may not know they're pregnant. There are also no exceptions for rape or incest, but there are some for medical emergencies. Planned Parenthood says the law will prevent 85% of abortions in Texas from happening. The new state law also allows private citizens to bring civil suits against anyone who assists a pregnant person in getting an abortion. ABC 7's Rachel Phillips spoke with the proponents and opponents of the new law today. She joins us live now. Rachel, what is the general consensus with this new law?
Steph, there really isn't one. People on both sides have incredibly strong opinions about whether this law is unconstitutional. We've seen the highest elected official in Texas speak out about why this law is a good thing for the state. And we've also heard the highest elected official in the nation say this law is a direct violation of the Constitution.
Our Creator endowed us with the right to life.
Our focus and the president's focus is to reiterate our deep commitment to the constitutional right, of course, established by Roe v. Wade nearly 5 decades ago.
The president in a statement Wednesday went on to say the Texas law will significantly impair women's access to the health care they need, particularly for communities of color and individuals with low incomes. Those differing opinions aren't just at the state and national level, but also right here in El Paso.
None of this should be happening. It is so inhumane and so unfathomable that in 2021, the state of Texas wants to force people to be pregnant against their will.
I don't believe it's a right issue. It's just like I'm a female, I could be carrying another female, and that female has the same rights that I have. So it is not an issue of rights, it's an issue of life.
The law applies to those who are raped, something opponents have a big issue with. But proponents say it comes down to protecting life.
Obviously, that is not anything that we wish upon anyone. And those are circumstances that are terrible. But we are absolutely convinced that this is an issue of life.
Because of the new law in Texas, proponents of the law say many people will still get abortions, but they'll have to cross state lines to do so.
In El Paso, we know very well, right? The limitations and the lack of access. We know that it's difficult for people, and we often have to travel in some direction to access services that may not be easy to access here. It's communities like ours that will be hit hardest.
According to a study by the Guttmacher Institute, a research and policy organization focused on global reproductive health and rights. Now that this law is in place, the average one-way driving distance to an abortion clinic will increase from 12 miles to 248 miles. That's 20 times the distance. Here in El Paso, that distance to the closest clinic is only about 8 miles from the west side, and you have to cross the New Mexico state line into Santa Teresa. The Southwest Coalition for Life told me they plan on taking their mobile unit to the clinic in Santa Teresa to try and stop Texas women from getting an abortion and instead empower them to choose life. In a recent study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, at the start of the pandemic when Governor Greg Abbott ordered all non-necessary medical procedures postponed, including abortions, the number of Texas residents who went out of state for an abortion leapt from 157 in February to 947 in April. For Life says they're looking at ways to reform the cost of adoption to make it easier for those to choose life even if they don't want to keep the baby. Planned Parenthood, though, is sticking firm, blasting law saying women should have the right to decide what they want to do with their body. For Now Reporting Live, Rachel Phillips, ABC 7.